Most of my book recommendations come from social media, including Instagram. Throughout the year, I've been testing different ways to get book recommendations. I use the Storycraft's recommendations feature, and for the last couple of months, I have been filming a reading vlog where I have people give me book recommendations. So I had an idea. I have to give all credit to this new YouTube channel that I found a couple months ago, the Takedown Twins. They are extreme eaters and they make food challenge videos. One of my favorite videos of theirs is titled, "I ate every restaurant's most recent Instagram photo." Basically, they go to restaurants around their town, popular or local chain, and they have to eat whatever their most recent Instagram photo was. For instance, they went to IHOP and they ate their pancake tacos. This is one of my favorite videos of theirs, so I was like, I need to make this bookish somehow. So I am going to read a book from a bookstore's most recent Instagram photo. It's one book each. If I did this reading every single book, I would be here for years. So there's one book each, and I cannot read a book that I've already read. I do have a caveat for the first book, but that is the concept. Let's see what my first book is. First, I am starting with the classic Barnes & Noble. I'm picking their official account, not any local accounts. The first book here is The Monster at the End of This Book, a Sesame Street picture book. I think I actually have read this. I worked in childcare for many years, so I know this book. I've read it a lot. I do have the rule where I'm not going to read books that I've already read, but this just feels like a good idea. This is Dave Eggers, who is the author of The Circle, and I'm pretty sure that he is not a good person. It checks out being from Barnes & Noble. The Monster at the End of This Book is the book I most remember my mom reading to me. We read it 100 times and look back on it. I'm still impressed with its sophisticated and genuinely complex breaking of the fourth wall. On top of that, it is so silly that every kid I've read it to giggles maniacally. Okay, so this is an option. The post before that is Greenwild by Perry Thompson. Welcome to Greenwild, a secret magical world inhabited by plants and botanists. I think this might be a fantasy. Greenwild. The World Behind the Door by Perry Thompson is the first in the series that grabbed us from the first page. Okay, so this is another children's book, which honestly, this works out for me. So here are my two choices. Honestly, I'm gonna see which one I can get. I know I already read The Monster at the End of This Book. I've read it many times with the kids that I have worked with, so I can do with either of these. Book secured. My library was actually having a book sale and there was vendors and plants and things like that. So I decided, why don't I just go over, get the book. They didn't have Greenwich. It's pretty new. The only thing I could find was Everand. They had the audiobook. So I'm just gonna go with this book. I think it's a little bit easier. And I already have it in my hands. I actually had to have a librarian assist me because I could not for the life of me find this book. I think it's because I was looking for a different edition. The edition that I had when I worked in childcare was more long, and this one is really small. So it's here. So I'm gonna take the next few minutes to read this and I'll be back with my thoughts. While I was there, the librarian was telling me how much she loved this book as a kid and her mom would always read it to her, and I got a little embarrassed, so I told her it was for my nephew. I just felt weird going into the kids section and getting a lot because I got two other kids' books at the sale. Honestly, they didn't have a lot of things that I wanted, but if you know me, I actually collect Beverly Cleary, so I picked up one of her books. It's Ramona Quimby age 8, which I already have, but I don't have this edition, so... And I found In Great Condition, Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson, which I've been wanting to read. This is in great condition, and I can't wait to read it. Now, I'm gonna go take the next few minutes to read this, and I'll come back with my thoughts.
A few moments later.
It's been a couple hours now, and I have successfully finished The Monster at the End of This Book, meaning I got to the monster at the end of the book. I think I have read this, but there's a specific book that I have in mind, and it's not this. I think I have read this before, or I just remember hearing about it. Honestly, it has been so long since I have worked in childcare that I cannot remember. You know, if you're a teacher or you work in childcare, you read so many picture books that it's hard to remember every single one. However, the book that I was thinking of is not this. It has a green building. I believe it's about Big Bird. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it before this video goes up, but I have successfully finished this. It was really funny and cute, and I would recommend it and give it to my niece and nephew. So, still holds up today. It's good. Now, on to the next book. With Instagram open on my iPad, I'm going to go to my favorite bookstore, bookshop.org. They're an online bookstore. They allow you to support your local bookstores online, and I just ordered a bunch of books from them. They just had free shipping for Indie Bookstore Day, so I bought a couple books for that, and then I bought a couple books before that, so I use them a lot. Let's see what they have here. The last book related post that they have that is actually featuring books is from 4 days ago, and it has new releases. The book that's catching my eye is The Z Word. I have seen this all over Instagram lately, but here are our options. The Ministry of Time, part time travel romance, part spy thriller, exhilaratingly original, and what does it mean to defy history when history is living in your house? Okay, interesting. Loneliness and Company by Charlie Dyroff. A young woman finds herself tangled in a secret government project combating loneliness. A timely, beautiful, observed debut novel set in near future New York. This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Part romance, part friendship story. Takes place on Prince Edward Island. And Dual Timeline Summer Romance. This sounds interesting. Women and Children First, a novel by Alinda Grabowski, unwinds the private lives of 10 women as they confront tragedy in a small town, and an exquisite portrait of grief. These all sound really interesting. They are March releases, May releases, okay. They're just new releases. We have The Ministry of Time, I can't really see who the author is, Loneliness and Company, This Summer Will Be Different, Women and Children First, Their Divine Fires, The Z Word, Bad Men. The book that is calling to me is The Z Word because I've seen this all over, and I believe it's about zombies. And if you know one thing about me, I love zombies. I don't read about them much at all, but whenever I hear that there's a book about zombies, sign me up. The Z Word is exactly what I said. It is a queer zombie romp. I just have to read it. I hope that I can get a copy of this. Found family coming together to fight corporate greed, packed with action, humor, sex, and big gay feelings. This is a perfect book for me. These all sound really interesting, and I will be adding them to my TBR. I'll link all of the posts down below for you to go to look at them if you're nosy and you want to know these books. But I'm gonna read The Z Word by Lindsay King Miller because queer zombie romp is amazing. What a great buzzword, and I need to read this immediately. So I'm gonna go see if I can get it from my library, and I'll be back. Hi, I'm 50% into The Z Word, so I figured I would let you know what I'm thinking. My audiobook says I have 2 hours and 38 minutes left, and we are just getting started still. It's funny because I am 50% in, but the zombies, like, just started. We haven't gotten like a full-on zombie apocalypse yet. It was really slow leading up to the zombie invasion, I guess you could say, or just like the characters learning that their friends are zombies. I will say it's really funny, and I really wish it was a movie. I know we have Zombieland, but can we have a queer Zombieland? This is it. I think that this would be way better as a movie. I am picturing it in my head as a movie, and it's funny in some parts. It is satire, and they are talking about important issues in the queer community, especially rainbow capitalism, and you can see the different queer people, which I really enjoy. I read a review saying it felt too stereotypical, but like, don't agree with that because there's more than one queer character. There's a few trans people, there's just queerness all around. Our main character is bi, we have sapphics, like, it's a whole queer cast pretty much. So I don't think that it's stereotypical or like leaning on stereotypes, because to me I'm just like, well, one, we're not a monolith, and also, like, in this kind of situation, I think it makes sense to have, like, caricatures and archetypes of queer people. I just disagree with that line of thinking for this book specifically because I would say that it's pretty diverse for the most part. We have queer people of color, we have different queer people, there's trans people. So I don't know. I think because it's satire, that could be why people think that the characters feel like caricatures of queer people. But I also think when you have a full cast of queer characters, not everybody is the same. Something that rubbed me the wrong way with our main character, Wendy, and I'm not sure if this is intentional or not. There's our main character, Wendy. She's bisexual. I'm really hoping it is because I think that that would be wonderful growth for the character and like great commentary, because I have a feeling we're trying to talk about queer liberals and how they tend to neglect and don't listen to the calls from queer people of color. They often neglect and overshadow queer people of color, and I can see that happening here. Basically, Sam, I think her name is, she is a person of color, and she has kept saying repeatedly when Wendy would say, oh, let's just call the cops. Let's just call the cops. And Sam would say, no, I feel uncomfortable. Like, I don't want the cops. You don't know what could happen to me. Like, I don't want that to happen. Don't call the cops. Sam ends up getting bitten and she is turning into a zombie. I'm not the person to comment on that representation of the queer people of color because I am a white trans man. But there is a little bit of an alarm going off in my head where I'm like, oh, the first person that becomes a zombie is the person of color, which, like, is it kind of like killing them off or something? This is just my thought process right now. This is going to be a spoiler, so I'll put it on the screen, but if you wanted to read this and you want to just know a little bit of what you're getting into, stay here. But for folks that just want to read it on their own or whatever, all power to you. For the people staying for the spoilers, so Sam is in a car, and I believe she's with her girlfriend, and so Wendy ends up calling the cops. And why did nobody stop her is what my question is. Like, again, I know that this is a real thing that happens to people of color. And so Wendy ends up calling the cops. And the cops come. And this is why I think that this is going to be commentary, because Wendy, in her internal thoughts, she says, oh, it's a lady cop. She's probably a lesbian. Like, I'm clocking her as one. She'll be nice. And I really think that this is going to be commentary on that. And if it's not, that is a total disservice. I think this would be a perfect topic to implement in this book, because Wendy sees this cop and she feels safe. And I know a lot of white queer liberals feel like that. And cops are not safe. No cops at Pride. Cops are the reason that queer people don't have their existence. Like, if you know anything about Stonewall, you know that cops were infiltrating gay bars and arresting people because they thought that they were queer. And if you just wore a certain outfit, they would arrest you because they thought you were gay. So cops are not safe at all. Fuck cops. Defund the police. They are the devil. They are horrible. We don't like them. So I'm really hoping that this is what we talk about in the book, because it would be a great thing to mention. So what I'm getting at is Wendy ends up calling the cops and she feels safe around them. I only have the audiobook, so I don't have the actual text. It says that she is shot multiple times, Sam, in the car, and then it switches to Sam's perspective, which I love as a writer. I think that that's really cool and a really great time to switch perspectives. I don't like that. I don't like that she is killed off. I don't like it. That rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm still pissed about it, because I'm just like, Unless we are challenging that thought and this is going to expand into character development and shit, I don't get it. But also, I feel like you could have done it in a different way. The book is almost over, which I think is so interesting that this is a really quick read and not much has happened yet. Like, that's the last scene I left off on, is when she got shot and killed, which, I don't know, I guess I have to think about, what do I want in a zombie apocalypse book? Like, what do I want the end result to be? Because it's going to be gory and it's going to be like that, but I don't know. I will say it is funny. It is satire. Like, the way that they get zombified is really funny. And the topics are great. The discussions are really great, which I enjoy because you could just have a fun, silly, goofy book about queer zombies, but this is so much deeper, which I really enjoy. But I can't get past the whole cop thing. I'm really hoping that it gets resolved and it is a point in the book, because if not, I'm gonna be pissed. I don't rate books, but if I did, and that doesn't get resolved, that probably would have been a 2-star for me. I read the reviews and some of them were mixed, but I feel like when you have a book like this and it's satire, that can happen. Those are my thoughts for now. I will get back to the book, and next time you see me, I will hopefully be done, unless something happens that I need to update on. Hello, it's Friday, May 17th, and I am about to go run some errands, so I'm gonna try and finish up more of the Z Word. I might be able to finish it while I'm out, because I'm gonna bring my headphones and listen to my audiobook. I am 60% in now, and I went to charge my Kindle today because I'm filming my birthday reading vlog this weekend, and I realized I already bought a copy of the Z Word on my Kindle. That's how you know I have not opened my Kindle in months. So that's actually great for me, because now I can hybrid read. Now I'm 60% in, and there's more zombies. The characters are trying to find out more. We're resolving some conflict. Wendy's ex is involved now, so I did read that the book was about Wendy and her ex, like, fighting off zombies or something like that. Since this is satire, it's hard to tell if Wendy is supposed to be unlikable or not, because I'm not liking her. I'm gonna share some spoilers, so I'll have something on the screen to let you know when. Why did this girl really say that she kind of was responsible for the death of her friend? Kind of. She was. She was. She's the one who called the cops. I paused the audiobook. I was like, wait, kind of? You're the one who called the cops. So yes, it was all your fault. The girl told you not to do it. Your friend told you not to do it, and you still did it. So yeah, I would say that you are the person I would point to when they're asking who did it. I would say it was you, because you called the cops and your friend told you not to. So I wouldn't say kind of. I would say you are solely responsible. Trying to see where it's all headed, because the zombies are being killed. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess that's what's supposed to happen in a zombie apocalypse, but I don't know if, like, shooting zombies is the way to go. Me talking like I've been in a zombie apocalypse and know what to do. I don't know, it's just like when queer people are getting killed, I feel uncomfortable. And I know that this is what's going to happen in, like, an action-packed book like this, and obviously a zombie apocalypse book is not going to have a happy ending, unless Wendy and her ex get back together at the end. But I don't even know if that would be a happy ending for me, personally. I don't read zombie books a lot. I think this might be my first ever one that I've read. And I've never watched The Walking Dead. I don't think that would be something I would like, but maybe I could give it a try. But when it's queer, I'm like, okay. But I guess it's more that I want it to be the queer people as, like, the hunters, you know? Instead of, like, the queer people getting killed off. But I'm having a feeling that this is intentional, because I think that there might be a big commentary on, like, queer erasure and just the way that society views and treats queer people. That's what I think is going to happen. So this is definitely the kind of book where I will not know my thoughts until the very end of the book, which I really enjoy. But it's hard when you're really confused and are like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Is another queer person going to die? You know, like I would rather it be the queer people on the other side and maybe killing off like the corporation people and bad people rather than the queer people getting killed, unless it's intentional. Hello, I just finished up The Z Word and I really enjoyed it. I think this would be a perfect read for Pride. It is very liberating, but it has a whole commentary on rainbow capitalism, and I would just say capitalism in general. This was definitely a book that I needed to wait until the very end to form a conclusion, and I really enjoyed it. As you have seen in this video, I was not certain on if I liked it or not, and it did everything that I wanted. This is a great commentary on corporations, and I would also say how queer people can get wrapped up in these situations. I will say I was looking for more of a Scooby-Doo situation where the queer people are the detectives and they are fighting the bad guys. There's a reason to why everything was developed in this book, but now that I've finished the book, I understand why everything happened, and I thought that this was a great debut. I would love to read more of this author's work. I would love to know if you have read this book, because it just came out recently. I think it came out this month in May, so let me know if you've read it. And yeah, I'm glad that I read it. I'm excited to read more queer zombie books, and if you know me as a reader, I love books that have a bigger commentary, because this could have just been a silly, goofy book about zombies, and I would have been here for it, but the commentary made it so much better. I will note, it is very gory. It does talk about cops. It's not propaganda. It does show how cops are horrible, and I liked that Wendy's thinking was challenged by her friends. However, I wish that it would have gone one step further where they just didn't call the cops. Like, I understand why it happened, but I just personally was like, I don't like that. But there's no propaganda in this book. Most of the characters understand and hate cops, just like I have already stated in this video, and why. So yes, since this is a zombie book, there's a lot of gore. There's also a lot of guns. So if you can't read about guns and you don't want to read about gore, this isn't going to be the book for you, but it's the book for me because I love zombies. I can't wait to read more queer zombies. There's another book I have on my Kindle. I'll have the cover here because I cannot remember what it is right now. So if you also want to read more queer zombie books, this is another one. And yeah, those are my thoughts on the Z Word. I enjoyed it. I'm really glad I was able to get around to it. Now, it is 7 p.m. on May 20th, so I'm actually going to head over to my computer so that we can find out what my next book is. This is going to be one of my favorite bookstores, Giovanni's Room in Philadelphia. This is where I met Mercury Stardust, and I love this bookstore so much. It is full of queer books, so let's see what they have as a recommendation. It says, this week's spread of new releases. I guess, did Page Boy come out in paperback? Is that what this is? Oh, there's Breathe, which I actually just got. I don't want to read Page Boy for a vlog. I really just want to take my time with it. So that is my one cop-out. I'm not going to read that because I just want to have my own thoughts. If I read it, I'll do like a separate review video for it, but I don't want to read it at this moment. I need to have a specific time to actually read it, and I don't want to vlog it. But we have Breathe, which I actually just bought, so I could do that. These are a lot of new releases. Oh, The Summer of Bitter and Sweet. I could also read that. We have Gooseberry by Robin Gao. A lot of good ones here. I think I'm gonna go with Breathe just because I own it, so let me grab it. This is Breathe, Journeys to Healthy Binding by Maya Kobabe, the author of Genderqueer, and Sarah Pietzmeyer, who is a doctor, I guess, because she has a PhD. It is a graphic guide to chest binding with real-life stories and research-backed advice. I wish I had this when I first started wearing binders, so I'm really excited to read this. Binding is very difficult, and I'm just glad that trans kids get books like this. And as a trans adult, I am very excited for this. So I'm gonna read it. It's not gonna be that long. I'm not gonna get to it right now, but I'll pick it up before the end of the month. So yeah, there we go. I am very excited. Hello, it is May 30th. I am still reading Breathe. My plans for tonight are to finish it up. I started it. I'm enjoying it. It's reminding me a lot of the book Fine. So if you've read that, I would recommend this. Basically, it is just a graphic novel with interviews of trans people that bind, and actually I'm finding it very useful, so I'm really enjoying it. But it is May 30th, and tomorrow I'm gonna go to my library so I can return the monster book, and I just want to know what I have left to read. This will be my final book of this video, so I just want to know what I'm gonna read next, and I don't want to wait until I finish that book because I'm impatient and I just want to know what my TBR is going to be, because I am participating in the Amazing Readathon in June and we're getting our prompt tomorrow, so it would just be really useful if I knew what book I was going to read next. So I'm gonna do that right now. Let's do it. I don't know what bookstore I'm going to pick though. So I'm gonna start off with the bookstore, the Black Walnut, and they are an indigenous bookstore, so let's see what they have for me. This is Black Walnut Books. It's owned by Hillary, and I love them a lot. So their most recent post is a basket. They show a lot of books, but I can't really see them that well. They have Transmorgify. I don't feel like reading an anthology. Like, maybe I'll keep this in the back of my mind, but there's Page Boy again, which I'm glad that we're seeing Page Boy, but I already mentioned why I'm not reading that book. So Transmorgify could work, but I'm gonna actually go to like one of their single posts because they have I Keep My Exoskeletons to Myself by Marissa Crane, which I actually own. So this would be very helpful. That's something. We also have I'm Afraid of Men by Vivek Shreya, which is her memoir, I believe. So there's something. We'll see what I can do with this. Black Walnut Books is a queer and native-owned bookstore focusing on Indigenous, BIPOC, and queer authors. I've been participating in their yearly reading challenge, Decolonize Your Shelf. I love them a lot, so definitely go and shoot them a follow. They also do a book club and subscription box, so you can also do that. So if Black Walnut Books doesn't end up working, I have an alternative, which is Always Here Books. They are a queer and trans-owned bookstore. Their most recent post is talking about their book club, and you're voting for the genre, which is pretty cool. There's To Shape a Dragon's Breath, The Skin and Its Girl. I've really been wanting to read that. Thirsty, The Luis Ortega Survival Club, and The Town of Babylon by Alejandro Varela. Okay, actually, this helps me. I'm really glad I did that because now I have an idea of what I'm going to read. So hopefully you'll see me soon with my last pick of this video. We have a winner, the Luis Ortega Survival Club by Sonora Reyes. I'm so excited because I've been wanting to read this author. This has autistic representation. I read some reviews that say the main character has selective mutism, and just by the reviews, this sounds amazing. I was able to borrow the ebook on Libby, and Hoopla had the audiobook, so 2 for 1 there. I will be doing a hybrid read, and I'm really excited to read this. I'm gonna be really quick with this because my camera's about to die, but I just finished up Breathe and I really enjoyed it. It features interviews from trans people who bind, and I really enjoyed it because there was a variety, and it talks about binding in a positive way. When I first heard about this book, I immediately wanted to get it because this is the type of book that I really wish I would have had when I first started binding and was learning more about myself as a trans man, and it definitely met my expectations. This is D, who's 56 years old, and their pronouns are they, them, and they grew up in the 60s and 70s and talk about binding and making their own binder. I'll read one thing that I really enjoyed from them. It says, I think the dysphoria-based model of understanding transness is harmful because it's rooted in the idea that being trans is oppressive and distressing. I don't think that is true at all. I like that I'm trans. I love the community I've found because of it. It has allowed me to be myself. And they just talk about the different types of binders, and I liked seeing a variety of what different people use. Somebody used trans tape, somebody used just a traditional binder. I like Dee's story because it shows that trans people have always been here, and I liked seeing how people would bind back in the day even though it was not safe. However, I wish they would have given more advice. I was really hoping that they would list some brands, because we don't really have that many, but they do add some like journal prompts, and this is some strategies to reduce pain. So that's why I'm saying it's positive. This one part says we don't have to accept pain in order to affirm our gender, which I love, because honestly, I bind, but I don't bind as much as I used to. This is reflection questions. I really like this too. Check in with your mood and symptoms. I was just so happy reading this. I love that this exists. I just wish that there was more advice, because it is showing people work out while they bind, and I just don't think that that's safe. Like, personally, that's not something that I would do, but I do wish that there was more information and caution saying here's what you should do and here's what you shouldn't do. And I know that people are gonna bind no matter what. I don't have anything bad to say. I just really wish they would have shared some brands and also some more advice of like do's and don'ts. The book also shows exercises, which I really like. I could really benefit from that. Just stretching and things. There's different stretches, but it does show how binding can affect your body. So I really wish that they would have maybe just added like, don't bind when you sleep. Like, yeah, they kind of mention that because there is a person in this book who does that, and so it is showing like the do's and don'ts in that way, but I wish they would have done that better. I do like this overall. I'm really glad that this exists, and honestly, I kind of hope that we get more things like this. I would love to know more about binding because I was so in the dark when I started, so I really enjoyed this. If you are wanting to learn more about binding yourself as a trans person or trying to learn more about trans people, highly recommend. Love this. It is May 31st, and tomorrow is the Amazing Readathon, and we got our prompt today. And I'm so excited because what the prompt is to read a book that you didn't purchase. And the book that I decided for the last bookstore, the Sonora Reyes book, has queer rep. The author is queer, and I believe non-binary. And in this readathon, you get 50 extra points if you are reading a book by a queer author. So I'm really glad that I picked this book and that it's going to work for the first prompt. This prompt is to read a book that you didn't purchase, and I have the audiobook from Hoopla and the ebook from Libby. So I will hopefully be starting it at midnight or just in the morning, because we'll see what the Stars and Oilers do, because I'm about to go and watch that game. But that is it for now, and I will see you in the morning. Bye. Well, that was fast. I just finished up the Luis Ortega Survival Club, which was actually my first book of the Amazing Readathon. And now I can officially complete this video. I really enjoyed it. I'm so glad that I got to read a Sonora Reyes book because I've been wanting to read them for a while. They are the author of The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, so hopefully I'll be able to read that this month as well. That would be amazing. This is following Ari. She is 16 years old. She's autistic and also has selective mutism, which I thought was interesting. I feel like I don't see that in books very much, especially YA. The only other book I've read it in is Pet by Kwiki Emezi. This is told in first person, so we are getting Ari's thoughts and she's telling the reader why she talks at certain points. And I like to see some of her growth because I recognize that selective mutism is not just talking when you don't feel like it, and it's not just being introverted or shy. So I really enjoyed seeing this in a YA. It is also her coming to terms with her bisexuality, which was cool. This is very queer, very neurodivergent, and it is a revenge story. This is comped as John Tucker Must Die, and I was a little hesitant about that comp going into this, but now that I finished it up, I think that is a perfect comp title for this book because it is a revenge story of people getting revenge on a predator. Luis Ortega, a boy at their school, SA's Ari, and this is her realizing that happened. At first, she doesn't think that that happened, and then throughout the book, she realizes it with support from her new friends. I thought this was a powerful book and it's liberating. There's joy. Like I said, it's a revenge story, so they are getting revenge on Luis as well as some of his other victims. Since this is a revenge story, it is on the lighter side, though I will not say that SA is a light topic at all, but the fact that it has queer joy and other messy situations, overall this is a joyous book about people getting revenge on predators. It's great. I really enjoyed it. I'm so glad I got around to read it, and I would love to know your thoughts if you've read it. I really enjoyed it. And that is it for this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, hi, I'm Alex. This is Books and Paperbacks, where I share all about queer and trans books, and I do fun reading vlogs like this. So if you enjoyed this video, best way to help me out is to comment, like, and subscribe. If you're like me and love to read queer and trans books, I would love to have you a part of my community. That's it for me. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video soon. Bye.